In November 2023, just 34 days before he would have turned 100 years old, Charlie Munger died. He left behind a fortune of roughly $2.5 billion, a 6-decade partnership with Warren Buffett, and a mountain of recorded interviews stretching back to the 1990s. But the strangest thing about that mountain isn't its size, it's how relentlessly repetitive it is. Watch enough of him, and you realize Munger wasn't trying to teach you new ideas. He was trying to drill 12 old ones into your head. The same 12 money truths said over and over, decade after decade, until the last public appearance of his life, and almost nobody listened. This is Charlie Munger's playbook. Not the official biography, not the polished version, the brutal, unfiltered one. The 12 money truths he repeated until his last day. Because he believed if you actually understood them, you would never be poor again. By the end of this video, you will see why most people will hear these truths, nod along, and then go back to ignoring every single one. And you will see why the few who don't are the ones who quietly become wealthy. Truth number 1. Most of life is just avoiding stupidity. Munger said this in dozens of speeches across 40 years. His exact phrase was, "It is remarkable how much long-term advantage people like us have gotten by trying to be consistently not stupid, instead of trying to be very intelligent." This sounds like a joke, but it is the foundation of his entire philosophy. Most people chase being smart, clever stock picks, complex strategies, brilliant timing. Munger chased the opposite. He focused on simply not making the catastrophic mistakes that wipe people out. Because in the long run, the investor who avoids 10 stupid decisions beats the investor who makes one brilliant one. Average kept compounding always wins. Truth number 2. Envy is the dumbest of the 7 deadly sins and the most expensive. Munger was almost obsessed with this idea. He said, "It's not greed that drives the world, it's envy." And he meant it financially. The reason most people overspend, take on debt, chase trends, and buy things they cannot afford is not because they want those things. It is because someone they know already has them. Envy is the silent destroyer of wealth. It is why your neighbor's new car costs you $40,000 of compound growth. It is why a co-worker's vacation photos cost you a year of savings. The moment you stop comparing your life to anyone else's, you become almost impossible to keep poor. Truth number 3. The first $100,000 is the hardest. Munger said this so many times, it became a meme. His exact words were, "The first $100,000 is a bitch, but you got to do it." What he meant is mathematical. When your portfolio is small, returns feel invisible. A 10% gain on $5,000 is $500. You cannot live off it. So most people give up. But once you cross 100,000, the math reverses. A 10% gain becomes $10,000, equivalent to many people's annual savings. Compounding starts doing the heavy lifting for you. The people who quit before this threshold never see it work. The people who push through it become wealthy almost automatically. But here is where it gets interesting. Truth number 4 is the one that contradicts everything modern finance teaches you. You only need 3 or 4 great decisions in your entire life. Munger said it again and again. If you took our top 15 decisions out, our record would be pretty average. 60 years of investing. 15 decisions actually mattered. That is one good decision every 4 years. This terrifies most investors because it means activity is the enemy. Buying and selling, watching the news, rotating portfolios, these things give you the feeling of investing while quietly destroying the returns of investing. The wealthy are not busy. They are patient. They make a handful of correct calls and refuse to ruin them. Truth number 5. You must invert. Always invert. This was Munger's favourite mental tool. He borrowed it from a 19th century mathematician named Carl Jacobi, who said, "Invert, always invert." Most people try to figure out how to succeed. Munger asked the opposite. How do I avoid failure? How do I not become poor? How do I not blow up? When you invert a problem, the answer becomes obvious. You do not need to outsmart the market. You just need to avoid the things that destroy investors. Leverage, panic selling, ego, ignorance, and envy. Solving the inverse is almost always easier than solving the original.
Truth number 6. The big money is not in the buying or the selling. It is in the waiting. Munger said this in front of a Berkshire Hathaway audience, and the room went quiet, because he was attacking the entire premise of how most people invest. They believe wealth comes from clever entries and exits. Munger believed wealth comes from doing nothing for a very long time on top of an excellent decision. Sitting on Coca-Cola for 30 years, holding See's candies for 50. Refusing to touch a position because nothing better has shown up. This is the rule that proves itself only in retrospect, and only to investors who actually live it. Truth number 7. Spend less than you earn. Invest the difference. Avoid toxic people, toxic activities. Stay cheerful. Munger gave this exact list to a graduating law school class. It is so simple, it sounds insulting. But the people who actually do all 4 become wealthy almost without trying. The ones who skip even one, usually the first or the third, never compound their way out of mediocrity. Wealth is not built in moments. It is built in defaults. Whatever your daily defaults are right now, they are quietly determining your net worth 20 years from today, whether you like it or not. Truth number 8. You cannot get rich without
owning something. Munger was blunt about this. I think it's a tremendously important thing to be a part owner of a great business. Wages do not create wealth. Salaries do not create wealth. Equity does. Either ownership in a company you build, or ownership in companies through stocks. The fastest way to stay middle class forever is to trade time for money your entire life and never own anything that compounds while you sleep. The fastest way to escape that trap is to start owning, even slowly, even small. The shift from worker to owner is the single most important wealth pivot most people never make. Now, stop for a second. If you are nodding along to these, ask yourself an honest question. How many of these truths are you actually living right now? Not understanding intellectually, living. Because Munger's whole point was that knowing them changes nothing. Acting on them changes everything. Truth number 9. Mimicking the herd invites regression to the mean. The crowd is statistically average. So when you copy the crowd, you guarantee yourself average. Average savings, average investments, average life. To outperform, you must, at some point, do something most people are not doing. Usually because most people are scared of it. The herd protects you from extreme losses. It also guarantees you never escape the middle. Truth number 10. Knowing what you don't know is more useful than being brilliant. Munger called this his circle of competence, but he framed it more harshly than Buffett did. He said, if you have any significant area of competence, that's a great gift. Most people overestimate what they understand. They think they know real estate, or crypto, or biotech, or politics. Munger insisted that 95% of what looks like investing wisdom is actually overconfidence in disguise. The wealthy investor is not the one who knows the most. It is the one who knows precisely where the edge of their knowledge sits and refuses to invest 1 inch beyond it. Truth number 11. Live within your income. Save, invest, and you'll get rich. The order matters. Income comes first. Saving comes before investing. Investing comes after both. This is the part Munger repeated word for word in nearly identical phrasing in interviews from 1995 all the way to 2023. He never embellished it. He never made it complicated. Because he believed the people who refused to follow the order, who tried to invest before they saved, or save before they earned more, were guaranteeing their own poverty. The brutal truth is that wealth is not a strategy. It is a sequence. And almost nobody runs the sequence. Truth number 12. The most important rule of all. If you don't know what's true, just shut up. Munger said this in his final years, weeks before he died. He had spent 60 years watching investors lose fortunes by speaking
acting and trading on things they did not actually understand. He believed most financial pain in the world came not from bad luck, but from confident ignorance. The willingness to say, "I don't know," is the rarest skill in finance, and the people who develop it tend to outlive, out-earn, and outperform almost everyone around them. Because while everyone else is busy proving they are right, the quiet ones are busy being correct.
So, there it is. 12 money truths Charlie Munger repeated until his last day. Avoid stupidity. Kill envy. Cross the first 100,000. Make few but great decisions. Invert. Wait. Spend less. Own things. Don't follow the herd. Know what you don't know. Earn, save, invest, in that order. And shut up when you don't know. $2.5 billion built on 12 truths, so simple that most people will hear them today and forget every one of them by next week. That is exactly why Munger repeated them. Not because they are complicated, but because they are easy to ignore. If this changed how you think about money, the subscribe button helps us bring you more breakdowns like this. This video is for educational purposes only, not financial advice.
Thank you for watching. Invest in yourself, invest in your future. See you next time.